My name is Angela. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, we also have Bethany on tonight as well, and we are going to talk to you guys about lash lifting and tinting as well as microblading. These are two services that have become very popular in general as well as at Chronos, and Bethany and I specialize in both of these services. So we want to give you guys a little information on what to expect, who's a good candidate, and what you can expect your results to be. So I'm going to go ahead and start. My name again is Angela. If you're tired of waking up and having to curl those lashes, put mascara on, this is really a great service for you. If you feel like your lashes are too short, we will let you know, but generally, mostly anyone can do this service and get that nice result. So you're going to wake up with those beautiful lashes without having to go and comb through them. You're not going to have maintenance with this, and you're not going to have to sit there and add layers and layers of mascara. All right, so a little bit about this. This is a before and after actually from this week. You can see this client had very straight lashes, and you can't really tell how dense they are until you actually get that nice boost lift. And you can see she got not only a lift, but that curl. So this is going to open your eyes and give you that wow factor. Next slide. All right, this is a couple of demonstrations as here as well. You can see how it opens the eyes in these very well. Even if you have a hooded eye, this is a good treatment for you because we offer 3 different types. We offer a combo, a shield, and a rod, and we pick what is going to be best for you for this service. You can't hear me. Okay. Let me talk a little bit louder. Can everybody hear me? Good? All right, go ahead and go to the next slide for me. All right, so a couple more examples. I want you to look at the right side. This is a client that does have shorter lashes, and you can see the dramatic effect that this has given her. So it truthfully is for anyone. I know you can look at these and say, oh, I don't have that many lashes. My lashes aren't that thick. This truly is going to bring out, you're going to be surprised at how much lash you actually have. All right, let's keep going. We're going to talk a little bit about this. So we use a brand called Elibana at Chronos, and this brand is particularly famous because it is a keratin-based lash lift. So it is healthier for your lashes. You're not going to have breakage. You're not going to destroy your natural, beautiful lashes. You're going to leave with a tint as well as a lift and a curl. So again, that's going to accentuate the eye area without having to do a lot of work. It's going to give you that I have mascara on look without having to actually do your mascara. Now, if you put mascara on top of this lash lift, you are going to see a much more dramatic effect, almost like a falsie effect. All right, these are a couple of things that I want you guys to consider. If anyone is using lash serums such as Latisse, different ones like Grande Lash, Babe Lash, you do want to stop that 5 days prior to your lash service and 5 days after the service. We don't want that chemical on the lash while we go through and tint and lift those. For 24 hours, this is the only maintenance you have for this entire thing. 24 hours, no water, no steam, no sweat, no mascara, nothing creamy around that eye. So I wouldn't go do a heavy workout right after this. You also want to be careful about touching the lashes themselves because you're going to want to touch them because they're so pretty, but you want to avoid any of that. Okay, and then who cannot do this service? It's very few and far in between. Somebody that has alopecia that doesn't have any lashes, they're not a great candidate for this. However, if you do a lash serum, such as Latisse, you can go ahead and build those lashes up so that we can actually do this service on you eventually. If your lashes are too short, which we don't see too often, we will recommend you use a growth serum as well and then get you back in once we have your lashes at a nice state. If your lashes have been compromised, so this is somebody that's done a lot of extensions for a long time, or they have very brittle lashes, perhaps from the weather or anything like that, you want to let your lashes get nice and healthy before we do this. So vitamin E oil is a great alternative to brush on, just to make sure we get you at a natural point so that when we do your lash lift, it looks beautiful. Chemotherapy patients can't do this as well. We just can't treat with any of those contraindications, as well as people with antibiotics or allergies to adhesives. So any type of adhesive, like if you get allergic from a acrylic nail, this is not going to be your best option. Or if you wear a false lash and get a reaction, we cannot unfortunately do this service on you. Now, this treatment does last 6 to 8 weeks. What we generally tell people is 6 weeks for the first 3 times you do it, and then you can start pushing it a little bit further, so it'll last you a little bit longer and longer once we train those lashes. But how amazing is that? 24 hours is the only maintenance, and then you get this for 6 to 8 weeks. It's incredible, guys. All right, go ahead. It takes about 40 minutes to an hour to do this service. So our special, we are giving you a special for Lash Lift and Tint. You get 3 lash lifts for $200. They're normally $80 a piece. That is going to give you a $40 savings. We also have some other specials that we're going to go through. And we are also raffling off tonight 1 lash lift and tint. So somebody is going to be the lucky winner of that. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about microblading as well. So anyone who hasn't met Bethany yet, she has been at Chronos for over a year. She's been an esthetician since 2016. However, she's been part of our Chronos family for much longer than that year. She was with us from the very, very beginning. So most of you should know Bethany. All right, Bethany, I am going to mute myself and go ahead and give you the go.
All right, hey everybody, I'm very excited to talk to you about microblading tonight. So we are going to go to the first slide for microblading. So microblading is really amazing because it gives you the ability to wake up with beautiful brows. You don't have to waste that 15 minutes in the morning making sure your eyebrows are symmetrical or the right color or thickness. You can just get up and go, whereas normally you'd have to take that extra time in the morning. We're going to go to the next slide. So initially there is a little maintenance with microblading. You have to do your initial service with us and then you'll come back 6 to 8 weeks later. But it's such a high reward service that it's really worth it. It's going to help frame your face, make your makeup look more natural, and it really just helps the overall look of your face. So we'll go to the next one. Here are some of me and Angela's different microblading styles. You can see at the top of both pictures, these are clients' initial brows. The second picture is their initial service, and then the last picture is 6 to 8 weeks later when they come in for that perfecting appointment. And then we'll switch over. Here's a few more examples. A lot of people get really nervous with microblading because they say, I don't have a lot of hair in the area. I'm really nervous because my eyebrows are super thin or super light. Well, you can see with these 2 ladies, the one in the middle and then the one to the right, one has a lot lighter hair. One has no eyebrow at all. So we really just built them a nice natural looking brow with little strokes, so that way they didn't feel like they had like Groucho Marx eyebrows. They felt like they had a nice brow that they could wear every day and it didn't look like they had heavy makeup on. So we'll switch over to our next slide. So these 2 clients are actually clients that had gotten microblading previously at different locations. They came to me just for their touch-up. Now the first client on the left, we simply just recolored her brows, touched them up so they were nice and dark again for her. The person on the right, we did a little bit of color correction. She had a little bit of pink in her eyebrow that she wasn't a fan of. We also sharpened up her tail of her eyebrow and moved her arch just the littlest bit back to help frame her face better. And then we're going to switch over. And here's the same thing. I just wanted to show you the symmetry. People have different expectations what the front of their brow looks like. Some people like more squared off brow. Some people like a more curved brow, more natural looking brow. So this is an example of that. And then we'll switch over. Okay, so the ideal client for microblading is somebody who is a classic overplucker in the 80s, early 2000s. They either tweezed all their eyebrows off, shaved them off, or just made them too thin and they're not growing back to what they really want. Microblading is great because it's going to create these nice little nano strokes. It's not going to give you that block eyebrow that we used to see traditionally with an eyebrow tattoo. Your initial treatment will kind of map everything out, make sure you have the perfect face shape for you. It won't be too thick or too thin, and then you'll come in for your perfecting service to touch up any color, change anything you might not be super happy about with your brow. We're going to go to our next slide. So what to expect? Microblading is going to create the look of fuller brow using nano strokes with shading and pigment perfectly matched to you. We're going to look at the undertones in your skin. We're going to make sure we're choosing a color that's not going to turn green on you or pink on you. It's going to be something that matches your yellow undertone or the red undertone in your skin. And we're going to map it out. We have special rulers that we use on your face to make sure they're perfectly symmetrical and they look normal to what your face would normally have. We're not going to give you a super thick eyebrow if you're not comfortable with a super thick eyebrow. So we're going to go to our next slide. So pre-treatment, we just ask that you don't use any exfoliants, retinols. We don't want compromised skin, so, you know, flaky skin, like a blemish in the area, things like that. Generally, we'll have you come in a week before to wax your brows, so you'll have a nice crisp look at the ends. If you do use Botox, we ask that you wait 2 weeks after getting Botox before getting microblading done. And then we just want you to stay off of any Advil, Tylenol, fish oil. This is a service that has a slight amount of bleeding, so we don't want you to bleed any extra because that can mess up your pigment retention. The process takes about 3 hours for your initial service. I know that seems long, but we numb you for this service. It takes a while to get your brow mapping perfect for you to where you're comfortable with. And then we numb you in between takes in the service, so that way you don't have any pain or discomfort. And then your touch up, which is 6 to 8 weeks later, takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours just to make sure everything is perfect and you're comfortable with it. So then we're going to go to our next slide. So touch-ups are super important because microblading uses a hand tool. It's not a gun, so it's not going deep into the dermis. So you have to come every 6 to 8 weeks because it hits that sweet spot right in between your epidermis and your dermis, and your body's trying to shed some of that out. So when you come to 6 to 8 weeks later, we're inserting that pigment into those strokes so your brows stay nice and fresh. I'm going to switch over. After your service, Angela and I like to do what's called wet healing. So basically, you're going to cleanse your brow morning and night before you get in the shower. You're going to use a cream, either the repair cream that we give you or like an Aquaphor, and you'll keep a thin layer on that at all times for about 2 weeks. This is just going to help reduce any scabbing, flaking in the area, so that way you don't lose pigment. Now, there is always the possibility that you could flake or scab, but it's going to be very light. Initially after your service, your eyebrows are going to look really dark for about 3 days to 5 days, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with my eyebrows after that 5-day period because they start to lighten and look to the color we normally talk about. We do ask that you avoid any sun exposure for that 2 to 6 week period because sun exposure is going to lighten the pigment in your brow, and we're trying really hard to retain that pigment. And then also with some clients, and not every client, but like my mom experiences this when she gets her eyebrows done, you can develop a silver skin. So basically when you're healing for that 2 to 8 week period, your body kind of covers up all the pigment deep into your skin. And then right at the end of that 6 to 8 week period, all your pigment comes back out again and your brows look beautiful. So we're going to go to our next slide. Okay, who cannot do this service? If you're super oily, microblading is not going to be great for you. It's going to help. That oil is going to pull out that pigment a lot faster, so your brows are going to fade very quickly. If you have thin skin, you couldn't be the best candidate because you could bleed a lot quickly, and again, you're not going to retain your pigments. If you are prone to keloiding in the area, we don't recommend this because then you could get bumps in your brows and it's just not going to be as beautiful as we'd like. You absolutely cannot get this service if you've ever had shingles on your face or neck. This is a big no-no. It could reactivate that virus in your body, and we're trying to avoid that at all costs. And then people who have diabetes or immune compromise will have a harder time healing because of the bleeding in the area. It's going to push out that pigment a little quicker than we'd like. And then, okay, so we have 2 different specials for the microblading. If you wanted to purchase just the microblading, you can purchase that and you get 10% off and a free consultation. We require consultation for everybody before microblading just to make sure they're a great candidate. And then it also includes 2 free eyebrow waxes 1 week before the initial service and 1 week before the touch-up service. And then the other special, we have our brow rehab special. Not everybody wants to jump into microblading right away, which we totally understand. So our brow rehab special is $160, and that includes 6 brow waxes and tints. It also includes a free growth serum, so we can help build back your natural brow before we go in and perfect it with the microblading. Now, you don't have to do the microblading at the end if you don't want to. If you just want to do the brow rehab program, that's totally fine. But after you complete the brow rehab program, if you decide that microblading is the path you want to take, you'll receive an additional 10% off of that. So normally it's $500, you'll get $50 off, and it's going to be $450 for the initial service, and that includes your 6 to 8 week touch-up. And then we are ready for any questions that y'all might have about microblading and lash lifting.
Yeah, so I know both of these services are something that's kind of in high demand, but there's a lot of question marks around it. Is it healthy? Is it safe? The answer is yes to all of that. You just have to have the proper technician, and Bethany and I do specialize in both of these. This is something we've been doing for years and really take pride in our work and pride with putting the Chronos brand on these services. So if anyone has questions, please pop them into the group chat. If you need follow-up questions later, or you would prefer a personal in-person consult, we will offer that for free as well. All you have to do is call the office. The phone number there is 504-267-4549, and you can book again with either Bethany or Angela. And I do want to let you guys know we are also raffling, in addition to the Lash Lift and Tint, we are going to do a brow wax and tint raffle as well. So we appreciate all of you guys coming in at this time for this event. I know it's kind of a hard time, especially if you have children or family that you have to cook for. We appreciate you giving us this moment. Any questions?
I think.
All right, Bethany, I'm going to give you a question. Something that we hear a lot with microblading is how do you know who to pick? How do you know what style is best for you?
So yeah, that's a great question. Fortunately, Angela and I are huge believers in before and afters. So you're more than welcome to ask either one of us to show you our work. I always say, go to who you're comfortable with. You could see one of us for every single one of your services, but decide that the other person's style is a little bit more, compatible to yours. And that's not our feelings. We want to know who you're going to be comfortable with and want you to feel, like you made the best choice for you when it comes to your eyebrows. So I always ask for pictures no matter where you're going to make sure that style eyebrow is what's going to be best for you and what you're expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something I get a lot with Lash Lift is it actually going to last? And it truly does. I mean, as long as you're very good about those 24 hours, that's your lock-in, your sealing time. It really does last a long time. All right, guys. So
another question real quick, because I get this a lot for lash lifting, is how you know when it's time to lift your lashes again.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of indicators. One, when we're doing your lashes and we're putting them up on the rod or shield, and I will post a video of us doing an actual in-person one on our Instagrams and Chronos Instagram later this week. But one of the things is we'll let you know, okay, look, you're going through a growth cycle, because those hairs do go through a growth cycle just like any other hair would. So if they are and you have a couple baby lashes, we'll let you know, because you might kind of grow out of that lash lift a little bit sooner. But you'll start to see that your lashes don't look as awesome, and they're kind of starting to droop. You may also have a couple crosses here and there where they kind of joined another friend in their lash line. It's time for a lash lift then, but generally people will notice because their lashes just don't look as good. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate all of your time. We hope that we got all of the information you wanted. But again, if you would like more information or want to come in for a free consultation, please give us a call tomorrow at 504-267-4549, and we'll see you guys then.
Thank you. Bye.